us on the broadcast. Another very special guest joining us this afternoon. We've obviously heard it from Professor Selvamurthy as well as Dr. Bhandari, but I'd also like to welcome Dr. Guruprasad. He's also a former ISRO scientist. He's currently the director of Jawaharlal Nehru Planetarium. So good afternoon. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Dr. Selvamurthy touched upon the health concerns at large, how exactly the astronauts will be coping up after staying in microgravity for 9 months to now, of course, being on Earth. We've heard from Dr. Bhandari about his experience meeting Sunita Williams and about her tenacity, about the mental fortitude that she's had to have. But I'd like to also ask you another thing. We heard Dr. Jitendra Singh speak in the Parliament today. He hailed Sunita Williams as a daughter of India. He congratulated her upon her return. But he also spoke about India's roadmap in particular as far as our own human spaceflight endeavor is concerned. He stated that there's going to be a final test that's going to be conducted by the end of this year. There's also going to be, apart from this, Group Captain Shukla, who's going to head to space in just a few months. He'll be heading to the ISS for around 14 days as a part of the Axiom mission in SpaceX's Dragon capsule itself. So there's a lot to look forward to as our own human spaceflight endeavor, a very ambitious endeavor is concerned. But what things should we be concerned about? You know, we've seen the glitches that took place in the Boeing Starliner earlier itself, and one very crucial aspect that a guest had pointed out to me earlier in the day is that if there are issues, then a capsule should not be launched in the very first place. We'd seen the test flight that had taken place earlier, and I was sitting here live as ISRO had put off the launch for the test flight just 5 seconds before it was supposed to launch. So how careful do we have to be taking our human space flight mission forward, and what can we learn?
Actually, I think the best people to answer this question are people from ISRO. But as a passionate science communicator and as a person who has observed space for the past 4.5 decades, let me tell you, and I am very proud that I was part of ISRO for nearly 4 decades. That is my privilege, I always consider, to work for such an organization. Okay, you asked not one question, a set of questions, which are not easy to answer, but as a science writer, passionate science writer and science communicator, let me say that, see, before we launch any spacecraft, especially carrying human beings, astronauts, cosmonauts, taikonauts, or biomnauts, whatever we call, okay, when we launch, one has to ensure that it works perfectly, to the best of our knowledge, okay? And all the spacecraft which are launched into space are over-designed. That is, in the sense, whatever safety features are there, more than what is required, that is the way they are designed. And as you mentioned that if there is any doubt about it, we should never launch such things. Yes, that is true. See, if you see the statements from ISRO, ISRO has been telling that the thing is, the primary concern is safety. So they are very well aware of it. Looking at the history of ISRO, the way in which they have approached different problems, they have not shied away from failures, in fact. That is not India's behavior in the sense. So, all said and done, okay, let us understand as to what is the problem and try to, prevention is always better than cure. So, instead of that, let me say that you have to ensure that the spacecraft is human rated, what we say. That is, it should have the reliability and resilience, okay, to carry a human being or a set of human beings, whether it is a rocket or whether it is a rocket launching a spacecraft or whether it is a spacecraft carrying human beings on top of a rocket. In both the cases, yes, we need to ensure these things, okay? Everything should be in order. Everything should be perfect. To the best of our knowledge, I'm telling, space flight is so complex. You will not be able to understand everything. There are thousands of things. That is why it is said that every launch brings butterflies into the stomach. So that is the way it is. But has human being shied away from that? No, that is not the case. And there are many lessons. You mentioned about Starliner. Yes, Starliner faced many problems, okay, especially pertaining to its propulsion system. No doubt about it. That is why NASA decided that it was not prudent on their part to bring back Sunita Williams, as well as Butch Wilmore in the same spacecraft which they went to space. But paradoxically, it landed on the surface of the Earth, not on water, on land itself as it was designed, without any problem. That was a paradox. But you mentioned about the problems of Starliner only. What about SpaceX's Crew Dragon, which has brought back Sunita Williams very safely today morning without a hitch? They were supposed to land at 3:27 a.m. in the morning, and they landed just like that. There was no problem. The time at which it had to separate from the International Space Station, that was 10:35 in the morning yesterday, and 16 hours later it fired its rocket engines, reduced its speed, re-entered the Earth's atmosphere, survived the 1600 degrees centigrade temperature, and parachutes opened, drogue parachutes opened at 18 kilometers, main parachutes opened at 6 kilometers, and it came and landed. So the bottom line is ensure that everything is perfect and human rated. Human rated means you have to enhance the reliability significantly. For example, we have LVM-3 rocket which has launched Chandrayaan-3. The same rocket vehicle is being used to launch Gaganyaan. Okay, but ISRO is ensuring, as I have read through open sources, I am sure that ISRO would do that. Okay, I rely on open sources only, and they are doing their level best to human rate it. That is, enhance its reliability. Okay, significantly, so that it will be capable of carrying human beings. So this is the mantra in space. Let me tell you one more thing. Space is not for the faint-hearted. Let me tell you. Yes, risks are always there, but how much of a risk? It all depends on you. That is the way. The first launch of SLV-3 on August 10th, 1979, Bhandari sir and others, Professor Bhandari sir and Professor Selvamurthy, they may remember. I was a kid at that time, almost. August 10th, 1979, we made our very first attempt to launch a satellite. It was a very small launch vehicle called SLV-3. The satellite was hardly 40 kg, Rohini satellite. But it didn't go well. The second stage did not perform well, and it could not achieve orbit.
And Dr. Abdul Kalam was there at that time.
Yes. Dr. Abdul Kalam was the project director of
yes.
and did we shy away? No. Within 1 year, we bounced back. India bounced back. I wouldn't even say ISRO. India bounced back. Okay. And on July 18th, 1980, success came, and India became the 7th country to launch its own satellite. So examples like that can be given. I can go on giving. I want to stop. But the thing is, let us ensure that the spacecraft works very well, and that everybody takes care of that. Okay. So that is the thing, and risks are always associated with spaceflight, because it is not like traveling on the roads or in the water or in the air. This is totally different. Yesterday, today morning also at 2:30 in the early morning, Sunita was traveling at 28,000 kilometers per hour. 46 minutes later, she came and landed in Crew Dragon at 25 kilometers per hour. How can you believe these things? So that is what is spaceflight.
The deceleration process is something that is very crucial. Something, of course, India, of course, tested just